Hello everybody, my name is Sean, and back when I used to run a studio out of my house, I had over 1,200 records that were all sorted by genre and then alphabetized, and I was super proud of it. But as I decided to collect real estate and move on with that phase of my life, I decided to downsize a bunch, which left me selling a bunch of my records, and I'm down to about 100 or so that are a little bit more near and dear to me, though some are just kind of random. And I wanted to just go through them, and I've already got a video on me doing about 26 or so of these, and I think I can go through about 24 or so today. Anyway, today I've got Farewell to Kings, which I don't know exactly. I think this one probably came from the Deseret Industries, which is like a thrift store, but I'm a huge Rush fan, going back all my life basically. My dad told me that he met my mom while they were listening to Rush, or somebody was listening to Rush. I don't know the whole story, but Rush is ingrained in my family. It's my older brother's favorite band. I think it might be my little brother Jordan's favorite band, and we're just a family of Rush people. And when I was like 16 or so, I heard 2112 for the first time, and the concept album just rocked my world. I had never heard anything like that before, and been a huge Rush fan ever since. Fortunately, a few years later, I was able to get into some Genesis. This is a fantastic album called Nursery Crime. I think it opens up. It's definitely one of the best Peter Gabriel era Genesis albums. And like a lot of their albums, they have little pictures that go with the sceneries that they talk about with the different lyrics. Fantastic stuff. Big Genesis fan. Nursery Crime. Super good. This is You by Gong. In my previous video, I talked about the previous two albums in the trilogy, the Radio Gnome trilogy. Really interesting LSD-inspired stuff. Space rocky, progressive rock. Very cool, very into Gong. And, of course, I own the whole trilogy, plus a couple of other Gong rarities. And they're definitely one that I'm going to keep forever. A very weird band. These come from France. Pretty cool. Venus and Mars by Paul McCartney and Wings. Super good stuff. I remember when I saw Paul McCartney live in Sandy, Utah at our arena here. And he opened with Rock Show, or Venus and Mars and Rock Show, however he does it. And oh man, it was just so awesome. This is a great album. If you're a Paul McCartney fan at all, this should be in your collection. Totally great stuff. This is Dr. Dog, Fate. This is a more modern album. I think it's like 2004 or 2007, 2008. Really good stuff. I like how it looks like it's stitched. You can see the stitching on the backside here, and then I don't know how well you can tell on the camera the stitching effect that's going on, but I think it's really cool. It's a really interesting band that is kind of Beatlesque in a sense. It's very happy, pop rocky stuff, but it's really smart and fun and kind of comical. And I'm super into Dr. Dog. I think it's really cool stuff. And side note, I hadn't listened to Dr. Dog for a little while, and then I started watching a YouTuber named Pat Finnerty, which you could check out. I think that's his name, Pat Finnerty. And he was inspired by Rick Beato's series, What Makes This Song Great. And so he made What Makes This Song Stink. And it's just a comedy series, but it's really funny. And then he's actually recording in Dr. Dog's studio, and he goes off on a ramble on one of the episodes about how Dr. Dog actually has integrity and genius that they put behind their music, which you didn't hear a lot of that going on the radio in 2008, at least not in the rock. And he goes on a big spiel about that. Anyway, Harry Chapin. I think I got a bunch of Harry Chapin coming up here. Oh, this one's apart from the others, but I got really into Harry Chapin for a while. He is a master lyricist with his story songs, where he's not very subtle. He just gives you the point straight up, and then you cry. It's intense stuff a lot of the time. I'll get more into it, I'm sure. Harry Nilsson, produced by John Lennon. I talk about Harry Nilsson a lot in my previous video. Big Harry Nilsson fan. This one, as you can see, produced by John Lennon, Pussycats. If you haven't heard this and you're a John Lennon fan, You need to hear this. I mean, not that John's on it a whole lot. Really, honestly, it's kind of a letdown to me. It's got this loop-de-loop song with Keith Moon on it and Ringo Starr, but oh man, here we go. There's some good stuff on it. Bob Dylan cover that's really good. Oh, that's not how that's supposed to be. Pussycats. But big Harry Nilsson fan, and John's with him, so it's interesting. I think during those sessions is when Harry blew out his voice because he was trying to do John and Yoko's scream therapy thing. My friend Andy Kahn knows more about it. We'll have to bring him into the mix. Here's a Beatles Rarities album, which I'm not entirely sure where I got this. This is the one that has a couple of the German singles. 2 or just 1? It just has 1 of the German singles. Why not have both? Well, there you go. Beatles. Okay, now we're getting into some more interesting Harry Chapin. This one is a massive live album. I think it's 3 discs. No, it's just 2 discs. But, of course, he sings most of his incredible stories. Cats in the Cradle, of course, is his famous one. Oh, and then, of course, 30,000 Pounds of Bananas, Taxi. They're all so good. What's the other one that you probably know? I mean, WOLD was a hit. Great stuff, though. I love them all. Just terrific, terrific. Here's an early Yes album. Big Yes fan, of course. Time in a Word with this is probably an American cover. I haven't really researched that. I like the UK cover quite a bit, though. We get a picture of all the bandmates. Band members. Pretty cool. Oh, Jesus Christ. Superstar. So good. If you haven't heard Jesus Christ Superstar, I totally recommend it. It's double album rock opera. Whoa. With a cool little pamphlet in it, or whatever. A rock opera by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice, October 1970. On this one, it's probably the version that has Ian Gillan. I always think there's an I in his last name, or the second part of his last name. Ian Gillan, and Ivani. I don't know how to say her name. That girl, she does a great job. Great cast on this. This is the version that I like the most of Jesus Christ Superstar. Though I've heard a few of them, including in Spanish. This is my favorite one though. Very cool album. This is something I had to buy online to complete my Harry Chapin collection, which is a very early album by Harry Chapin with his 2 brothers. And there's a melody or a couple of lyrics in this that he carries on to some of his other stuff. Right here, someone keeps calling my name. Someone keeps calling my name. I think they do it a little faster in this. Someone keeps calling my name. I don't know. But, like folky early 60s stuff. I don't know if there's a banjo on it. It's been a really long time since I heard this. No, it looks like 2 guitars. But, there's Harry. And, yeah, he went on to be so incredible. And I just love Harry Chapin. Okay, then we got a kind of damaged King Crimson album. This is from the John Wetton era of King Crimson. Super, super cool stuff. Great to see you. Oh, I'm going to peek. Good stuff. Oh, more King Crimson. All about that King Crimson. Of course, I have a video on the craziness of their timeline, but that video is old and crappy. 3 of a Perfect Pair. This is the next era, Adrian Belew era. Super cool. More Harry Chapin. So now, this one, Sniper, is really cool. This is possibly my favorite of his albums, though he's got a lot. This one's got the same thing going on with that Genesis one, where every lyric has a picture, and this would be my favorite song here, the 10-minute Sniper song about a guy who wants to be noticed and become immortal by going on top of a tower and killing people, and of course that's partially based on a true story. Oh, and then here's all of the pictures together. I think that's so cool. And this is a great lineup. Big John on bass, and oh man, great stuff. All about that Harry Chapin. This one is Chapin Lost and Found, Legends of the Lost and Found. This is posthumous release, I believe, with a bunch of his brother Steve is on it. Big John Wallace, of course. Uh-oh, something's going on here. But it's just kind of a collection of some live takes and some songs that he didn't release in other places. Not crucial. This one, not crucial either. It's a little bit later in his life. Let's see, what are the good ones on here? I mean, I like all these songs, but not as much as the other ones. Flowers Are Red is definitely the best one, about a teacher teaching the kid that he's coloring his flowers wrong, and that flowers can only be specific colors, and the teacher drills that into the kid's head, and then the kid moves to a new school, and he's only coloring the flowers the colors that this previous teacher taught him, and the new teacher's like, hey, why are you so restricted? You need to open your mind up, and it's good stuff. More Harry Chapin. This is possibly his most famous album, as it's got Cats in the Cradle on it, as well as the 30,000 Pounds of Bananas, which is really fun. And String Orchestra is also a funny one. A lot of his songs are really sad, but like really interesting. But some of them are the total opposite and just really fun and silly, just for the hell of being fun and silly. I love Chapin. And this is the one that I first heard by Chapin when I was hanging out with my old friend Jack Wilkinson back when we were collaborating in a band together. And we took some drugs that I didn't know were going to be great for this album. And because really what speaks to me now is the lyrics on this, but at the time I wasn't listening to the lyrics. I was just listening to the music, and I liked the music. And eventually I noticed the Mayor of Candor Lied song, the 8-minute or maybe even 9-minute epic in this, and it has a Darth Vader twist, basically, where the bad guy is his dad and he didn't know it, and love it. And that's when I really got into Chapin, is when I really heard the lyrics of the Mayor of Candor Lied, really into that. Super cool song. Now this is another, oh man, these Chapin albums, I love these Chapin albums. This one is really cool because it's a double album, The Dance Band on the Titanic. This album starts with a theme going, Dance Band on the Titanic, and then it kind of sets up the characters of the members of the band, and then throughout the album, it's just different stories throughout the album, but the implication is that they are all guests on the Titanic, and everybody who's on the Titanic is going through these different things in their life, and then we end up with a 14-minute epic at the end, which is a folk singer's entire life from childhood up to the point where he's playing in the dance band in the Titanic, and he goes down with the ship. Love it. So good. And here's possibly the last Chapin album, Short Stories. As it implies, it is just a collection of short stories. This one has Mr. Tanner on it, and They Call Her Easy. That's a good one. So good. I mean, they're all really good. Mail Order Annie. Fun stuff. Not entirely sure what's going on with this promotional Donovan copy, but I like Donovan, and it seemed interesting. The cat is running up against my light. Good kitty. Okay, this will be the last one I talk about in this video. This is just Yesterday's Wine by Harry Nilsson. I gotta say Harry Nilsson a bunch. Get out my Harry Nilsson. Willie Nelson. This is Willie Nelson's Yesterday's Wine. This album is where the perfect man has been to Earth before. Now we must send the imperfect man. Something like that. God, or one of God's representatives, is saying at the beginning of this album. And it's a concept album where, yeah, man goes to Earth, or a spirit is sent from heaven to Earth, and the guy basically just lives the life of a man, where eventually he loses faith in God and all this, and honestly, I could probably get a little bit more into it to understand the ending a little bit better. I think he just dies. I don't know. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, I'm going to have another part. Give me a like and leave me a comment so I know what you thought. And be sure to subscribe to see some of my mini docs that I do. That's what I typically do. This is not normal for me to talk about Willie Nelson's Yesterday's Wine in my hand. That's not a usual thing I do. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, though, go ahead and like it and tell me down below so I know to make more videos like this. Thank you very much, and have a happy listening session.